Hello learners, in my previous program I have discussed physical properties of minerals which are solely based on light and state of aggregation, specific gravity and sciences. In this program I will discuss physical properties of minerals which are based on forces. The characters depending upon force, external force, is also important in identification of minerals. What are the types of forces? They may be heat, magnetism, electricity or radioactivity. These are the four important types of forces. When applied to the mineral, they give a different type of characters. First, I will take up heat. When mineral is subjected to heat, minerals at atmospheric pressure have different fusibility. Different minerals having different fusibility. It begins with partial loss of water and gaseous components. So, depending upon the composition and constitution of the mineral behaves differentially against the heat. When it is heated, each mineral having different types of fusibility. So, this fusibility can also be used as an important parameter in order to distinguish minerals easily. Minerals with approximate temperature of fusion is cited here. For example, zircon. Zircon requires high temperature, about 2500 degree temperature when it gets fused. It is a very high temperature. Olivine is also fused at high, fusion temperature is very high, which is greater than 1400 degree centigrade. Similarly, plagioclase or calcic plagioclase, calcic feldspar is also an important mineral which upon heating can be fused at very elevated temperature, that is 1300 degree temperature. Garnet fusion takes place at 1050 degree temperature, and natrolite, which is also a secondary mineral, it is a variety of zeolite, its fusion temperature is 965 degree. Quartz is the lowest temperature of fusion. Quartz shows lowest temperature of fusion, which is 570 degree centigrade. Quartz is, it gets melted at low temperature. Melting and freezing temperatures are more or less same. Important thing is that all these temperatures are very precise, very pinpointed temperatures. As soon as these mineral reaches that temperature, they get fused. So, we can also categorize minerals depending upon the fusibility or the depending upon the fusion temperature. High, very high fusion temperature, moderate fusion temperature, moderate to low fusion temperature and low temperature of fusion. Now, another important property is types of magnetism. It is also a force. When applied magnetism, mineral behaves differentially. So, based on magnetic property, we can classify minerals into two types: diamagnetic minerals and paramagnetic minerals. Diamagnetic minerals are those minerals which show attraction for magnetic field, whereas paramagnetic minerals, minerals drawn to a magnetic field, can be classified under this category, paramagnetic minerals. So, broadly speaking, magnetism is a force, and when this magnetism or this force is applied to a mineral, it behaves in two different types, which is classified as diamagnetic and paramagnetic. Diamagnetic, no attraction for magnetic mineral, the minerals are called diamagnetic minerals. Paramagnetic minerals drawn to a magnetic field, they are called paramagnetic minerals such as magnetite and ilmenite. Paramagnetic minerals can be classified as strong magnetic, moderately magnetic and weakly magnetic minerals. Under the first category of strongly magnetic minerals, the minerals such as magnetite, native iron, they fall within this category. Moderately magnetic minerals include ilmenite, siderite, hematite and chromite, whereas weakly magnetic minerals include pyrrhotite, magnetite and hematite. I mean, when magnetite undergoes alteration, it loses certain amount of attraction towards magnetic field and it forms hematite, which is also a weakly magnetic mineral. So, weakly magnetic mineral includes magnetite to hematite, altered hematite. I am showing you a picture of a magnetite. This is a magnetite, almost steel grey to black in color, and it shows magnetic property. Silomelene, it is also a black, steel grey black colored mineral, but it does not show any attraction towards magnetic field. So, you can distinguish these two minerals into paramagnetic and diamagnetic minerals. Then electricity, another important property of minerals. When you apply electric property, it is very important property in order to distinguish minerals or identify minerals. Electric property of mineral is useful in mineral identification. Depending upon their capacity for conducting electricity, minerals can be classified into three different categories. When you pass electrical current through the minerals, there are three possibilities. Either the current can be passed easily, or it cannot be passed easily, or it cannot be passed. You apply any amount of voltage, high voltage, but it cannot be passed. And in third category, partly or very feeble amount or certain amount of current can be passed. So, we can classify depending upon the conductance of electricity in the minerals, we can classify minerals into three important categories: conductors, semiconductors and non-conductors. The examples of a electrically conductive minerals are native copper, silver and gold. Another important property, as I said, when you applied electrical field or you apply electricity, minerals behave differentially. There are two types of minerals. Based on this property, we can classify them into pyroelectric or pyroelectricity and piezoelectric or piezoelectric minerals. Pyroelectricity, if heat is the source of stress, it represents certain amount of electricity. When you remove heat, the electricity is also removed. So, such minerals are called pyroelectric minerals. The piezoelectricity, if pressure is the source, when you applied pressure to any crystal, it gives rise to a certain amount of electrical current. Such minerals are called piezoelectric minerals, and this property is called piezoelectricity. The best example is quartz. It is often used in the lighters. When you put pressure on the knob, the pressure is applied to quartz crystal and gives rise to electricity, which generates certain amount of heat also. So, these are certain important properties. Last property is radioactivity. There are certain minerals which emit radiations in the form of alpha, beta and gamma rays. There are minerals containing uranium and thorium continuously undergo decay. As a result, they emit radiations, and finally, they produce radioactive isotopes such as uranium 238, uranium 235 and thorium 232. If these two isotopes are there in the mineral, they will emit alpha, beta and gamma radiations, and with the help of instruments such as Geiger-Müller counter or scintillation counter, these radiations can be easily detected, and you can easily identify presence of radioactive minerals in that specimen in the laboratory as well as in the field. So, by definition, Mineral containing uranium and thorium continually undergo decay reactions. As a result, you get radioactive isotopes and emission of alpha, beta and gamma radiations. Such isotopes are useful in geochronology and stable isotopic studies in other branch of geology. The important instruments used in order to detect alpha beta radiations, alpha beta gamma radiations are Geiger-Müller counter, scintillation counter and radon detectors. They are easily available in the laboratory and you can detect radioactivity in these minerals. So, viewer, in this program I have discussed physical properties of minerals based on forces. Thank you very much.